Hello, everybody, and welcome again to Procrastinator's Pitch Stop. Today we are with Dr. Nicole D. Bradford, who is a dynamic and inspiring presenter who has triumphed over numerous challenges in her life. From witnessing domestic violence as a child to overcoming workplace stereotypes and limitations, she has navigated the complexities of being a young leader and striving for success despite facing resistance from peers and family members alike. As a first generation college graduate and the youngest of six, Dr. Bradford began her career empowering disenfranchised youth by developing programs that foster their success. Throughout her career, she has held influential roles including professor, vice president of student services, teacher, assistant principal, and campus principal, leaving a lasting impact on the communities that she serves. Dr. Bradford, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
We're happy to have you here. Now, as is customary on our show, we do like to have a little icebreaker before we dig into things. And your question today, Dr. Bradford, is which fictional character would you have dinner with and why?
Say Iron Man. I love Iron Man. I love all of his movies. And I want to have dinner with him because I want to have an opportunity to put on one of his suits so I'm able to use the little light thing and just fly across the world. But I think he's amazing. My son's favorite is Spider-Man. So he gets upset with me at times, and he's 23 years old. But mine will always be Iron Man.
That's a good one. I like that one. And I said Jarvis was the suit Jarvis, right?
Yes.
So you might even have someone to clean up the dishes afterwards.
Yes.
Let's dig into it. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey, Dr. Bradford, and sort of how you got to where you are today?
Well, my journey actually began when I was younger. As you mentioned, I'm the youngest of six kids, and I grew up in a home where it was a dysfunctional household, and there was domestic violence that took place. And it was very difficult for me as a child to see the two individuals that I admired so much in my life at odds with each other. And so I think that began the process of me. I've always wanted to make people happy. I wanted to solve problems. I just wanted to bring everyone together. And so, as a result of my childhood, I had to go out and seek mental health to get help with counseling so that I could understand that I am not my environment that I'm raised in. I have the opportunity and the privilege to go out and create the life that I desire. So I didn't want to limit myself. And I had to understand that I was not the cause of those situations. And so from there, I went to college. I went to Grambling State University, had a great time. And a lot of people think, how did she get into speaking? How did she get into helping others? Well, there on campus, there were so many pageants. They had like the Miss Grambling pageant and all of the different areas. And I thought to myself, you know what? This is pretty cool. I think I'm going to go home and try to do Miss Austin. Now, why did I do that? Because I grew up with very, very low self esteem. So I don't know what I was thinking to think that I could get anywhere close to winning the pageant. But I went the first year and I competed and I didn't make it. I made the top 12, I believe. And then the second year around, I was crowned the first African American Miss Austin. And so as a result of that, I went to the Miss Texas pageant to represent. And that's what began my speaking career. I was able to go to schools and do workshops and churches and different events. And there I was able to connect with other individuals and let them know my story so that I can hopefully ignite their flame and inspire them. So that's where the public speaking began in the late 90s and my love for connecting with others and helping people realize their potential. And then in 2018, I established Maintain the Flame, and the rest is history.
Yes, and just for our listeners, could you go over that maintain? I read that it's a really great acronym. Could you go over that for our listeners?
Sure, sure. I've come up with an acronym. It's 8 letters. So there's 8 strategies that you can utilize to design the life that you desire. Now, there is no particular order that you have to go in. So you can utilize any of them just to help you get started and make some movement in life. So the first one is for M, and it's mindset. Your mindset is very important. And we know so many people are talking about it now, but it's not just reading the positive affirmations and saying, I am smart, and then going on with your day. You must believe those affirmations. And once you believe them, you have to internalize them, but you also must have a growth mindset. knowing that you're willing to step outside of your comfort zone to have the things that you desire. The next letter is A. You must take action. You can't sit at home and say, you know what? I would love to have a podcast one day and just think that the podcast gods are going to walk in your house and say, you know what? Let's help you set this up. No, you need to do your research. You need to find some amazing podcasts that are out there. You need to connect with people, get some experience, take those action steps. So making sure that you take action is very important and the maintain strategies. And the next letter is I, intentional. We must be intentional with the life that we desire. And I think that ties in a lot of our thoughts and our beliefs, but also making sure that you write down a plan and you come up with the goals that you have for yourself and you begin to work towards those goals. The next letter is N for nurture. We're always taking care of everyone else. We're always pouring into everyone else. If we see a friend that's having a tough time, we'll step in and support that friend. But we also need to make sure we're willing to take time to nurture ourselves. So it may just be at the end of the day, this 30 minutes is designated for me to de-stress. Or on your drive home, I'm going to listen to my favorite show. Whatever it is, just make sure that you're taking time to nurture yourself. The next letter is T for tenacious. You have to be tenacious. You have to be bold and go after the life that you desire. You're going to run into some roadblocks. You're going to fail sometimes, but you have to be willing to say, you know what can I learn from this situation? Get up, dust yourself off, and continue to pursue your goal. Then the next letter is A, authenticity, which is very important. We must show up as our authentic self. It's very easy to try to come in and conform and blend in with everyone else, but we must be authentic so that we can live a life that we're truly proud of. Then the next letter would be I. We have to have integrity, especially in a world where that's lacking in some areas. We must stand on our truths and be willing to speak up for what is right. And then the last letter is going to be N for non-negotiables. You need to come up with your non-negotiables. Set those healthy boundaries. This is something I'm not going to compromise. It's important to me. I'm standing on my truth so that you can design a life that you desire and live a life with no regrets. So that's maintain just 8 strategies that you can utilize.
Yeah, those are some, it's an excellent way to remember everything you kind of need to do to have that life that you're looking to build, right? Let's visit that A one for a second, the second one, the second most important one, action. And procrastination really ties into that a lot. But what is procrastination to you, and how does it affect you personally?
Well, when procrastination is when we just keep saying, you know what, I'm going to do that later. I'll do it tomorrow. Or, you know what, I've got to take care of my kids right now. I got to get them all through school. I'll do that later. I'll invest in that at another time. But when you put it off for tomorrow, tomorrow keeps getting pushed back, and it can delay your dreams. It can delay your goals, and it's going to keep you from where you're trying to go. So instead of procrastinating, for me, procrastination is like kryptonite. It stops you in your tracks and it won't allow you to keep moving forward. So no matter how hard it is, I know even times for me, sometimes I'll say, oh, I'll try again tomorrow, or I'll put that on my list tomorrow, or I'll pray about that tomorrow. But I need to take care of it today because tomorrow may or may not come. So being willing to stand firm and say, these are 3 tasks that I've set for today. No matter what happens today, I'm going to tackle these tasks. And that's why we start small. If you can't do 3, at least maybe just 1. This is one thing I'm going to do towards my goal, my dream, my ideal life. This is one step I'm willing to take today. And I don't care what happens in my day. I'm not going to lay down in my bed until I've accomplished that one step. And then once you accomplish that one step, it'll make you feel good. It'll give you that energy and passion that you need. And maybe tomorrow you'll set up 2 tasks. But baby steps will get you where you need to go.
Okay, so you'd say that your own sort of secret sauce to beating procrastination is to just take any small part of it, no matter how small, and just do that.
Yes.
And then build up, and then
build on it. Like for me, I'll be 50 this year, and I've got to just get. When I was younger, I could get out there, and I had all this energy, and I looked amazing. And so I've had 3 kids, and I joke with people, and I say I still have my last child's baby fat. Well, she's 21 now. So I just need to take one step a day, Nicole. If you do 2 crunches, or if you do 1 plank, one activity, and you'll eventually get there because it'll get easier for me. And then eventually I can say, okay, I can do this. And then I'll be able to have that bikini body that I'm striving for. Not just yet, but one step is all it takes.
Yeah, that's very true. And I mean, a lot of times we get stopped by that, and we don't really know how to move forward. And it is just as simple as one foot in front of the other and just make it as small a step as possible. So in this program that you've designed, how would you say that you came up with the idea to create this program in the first place?
For Maintain the Flame, I think it was birthed out of my sister's passing. I'm the youngest of 6. And so in my life, I've always wanted to help everybody. I always wanted to make a difference. And I love public speaking. Well, she passed unexpectedly at the age of 48 years old. She was planning for her 50th birthday party that she was never able to attend. She had a freak car accident. And she always maintained her flame. This woman was always full of energy, excitement. If she wanted to go on a trip, she wouldn't wait on anybody else. She's going to get on that plane and go. She bought her own house and she retired young. And so I was like, oh my goodness. So she was able to maintain her flame and keep pushing and live an audaciously authentic life that she was proud of, and that was able to leave a legacy for others. And so I just took parts of her life and then parts of my life and my enthusiasm and my belief systems, and I came up with the company Maintain the Flame, just to help others reignite that flame, because we all have that desire or that activity or goal inside of us. Maybe we were younger and I want to drive a race car, but then life got in the way and we're like, oh, I'm too old for that. I'm never going to be able to do that. Get up and go drive that race car while you still have time. So it's a combination of things. It came out of the wonderful legacy my sister left, as well as my passion for serving and helping others.
Well, that's a lovely way to help remember your sister as well, and then to use her experiences and help others moving forward. What would you say is the biggest challenge that you've had in your process of creating this program and getting that word out to people?
The biggest challenge is for some people, they're thinking, well, you're not really selling anything because, it's just helping people to realize their potential. And a lot of people want tangible things. Remember, we're in this instant microwave generation. Everyone wants the answer tomorrow. I don't want you to just tell me how to maintain the flame. I want to sign up, and tomorrow morning I want to walk out a different person. I'm ready to take on the world. But we have to understand that it's a process, and people have to be willing to take accountability and own their part in the process. I can and encourage you. I can be your advocate. I can be your partner in the process, but it's on you to do the work. So I think that's the biggest challenge, is people understanding that it's not a microwave program, and it's going to take some difficult conversations. It's going to take some hard work in order to make their dreams a reality.
Yeah, that is something that's interesting, especially moving forward in terms of things like social media. Everybody wants to see those results now, but they aren't necessarily aware of what goes on behind closed doors, and they do want it to happen now.
Mhm.
But at the same time, there's sort of a lack of accountability. Now, what would you say is the reasoning for maybe the lack of accountability, at least to ourselves now?
I think a lot of the lack of accountability comes from our generation. Some of us, especially with younger kids that we have, we give them everything. You don't need to work for it because I didn't have it. Here you go. And you don't have to be accountable. I'm not going to check on you and your progress. Here, I'm just going to instantly give it to you. But when we do that, we think we're helping them, and we're not helping. We're setting them up for failure because those children become adults, and those adults still want the same things. Well, that's how it worked when I was little. I didn't have to really try very hard. I said I wanted it and it appeared. So what is wrong with your program? Because I'm telling you, I want to be authentic and audacious. You say you can deliver. I talked to you for 30 minutes and I don't feel any different. Have you put in the work? So it's just, I think that it's just a process. Unfortunately, it's our society and kind of how we were raised, and we've got to shift that and be responsible for our own future and the outcome.
No, it is something that everybody needs to do. So how would you approach that for learning accountability to yourself? How do you approach that?
Would say number one, making sure you get an accountability partner. It's very important. Find a good friend or a coworker, a family member, someone you truly trust, not someone that's going to tell you what you need to hear. We always say, you know what, I'm going to do this, but let me get my best friend. Well, sometimes your best friend doesn't want to hurt your feelings. So they're going to say, oh, yeah, don't worry about it. You can do it later. But if you have an accountability partner, and you guys set up your expectations. I need you to help me make sure that I create this business. And I need you to make sure that I'm doing something every single day for the next 90 days to make this come to fruition for myself, to make it happen. And once that partner, you have this expectation, you guys have talked about it. Don't get upset when that partner is like, okay, today's Thursday. On Monday, you told me you were going to have the following items completed, and you have not completed them. I'm going to come by, I'm going to check on those items, and I'm not going to leave until they're done. So they're going to have the tough love. They're going to have to hold you accountable. And not only will your accountability partner hold you accountable, but you have to understand that it's important that you put in the work and you hold yourself accountable.
No, exactly. Well, everybody's a little bit different though, right? I mean, some of us need that tough love, and some of us only want to hear the good things, you know. So it's an interesting balance to try to maintain accountability to yourself and to others. And so when you approach the people that you work with,
Mhm.
what I mean, I guess there's no real silver bullet, but in terms of maintaining your flame, what would you say is the one sort of biggest actionable kind of tip that sort of applies to everybody?
Well, like you just said, taking action. That would be number one. You can have a mindset is important because it controls everything. Whatever we feed ourselves is what we're going to believe. But I believe it's a combination of two, your mindset and your ability to take action. Because maintain the flame can apply in all areas of our lives. It can apply in our workplace. We start these jobs, we're so excited. Oh my goodness, I got this amazing job. And a year later, we're like, oh my gosh, where's my resume? I am so tired of this. I've been doing the same thing. It's not getting any better. But you had that energy and excitement when you signed up. So what do you need to have available to you for you to continue on to have that excitement for you to continue to be engaged in your company? Well, that means you have to engage yourself in the projects. You must be committed in the process. So the mindset is essential, and your ability to take action is very important when you're maintaining your flame. The same thing for parenting. We have parents and guardians out there. With me being in education for over 2 decades, I've been on all levels. And I've seen a lot of parents were so excited. My baby finished kindergarten. This is great. She can color, she can write. Then in high school, we're looking around, and this is not all of the time, but there is a lot of time we're looking around and we're like, where are the parents? Well, they're 17 or 18 now. They don't need me. They need you more at 17, 18, and 19 than they did when they were smaller because they have so much pressure around them from their peers and everyone else. They need you to be their accountability partner. They need your support, and they need for you to guide them through this journey.
So you raise an interesting question there, and so as you're going through with your children, you're being their accountability partners. You know, as they're younger, you know, kindergarten, you know, presentations are fun. You know, math homework in grade 6 is kind of okay. And then they get to, yeah, you're right. Once they get to high school, you know, we kind of drop off and say, oh, well, you know, we did that for, you know, 9, 10 years. Can you just do it yourself now?
Exactly.
That kind of, do you find that that is not the case then because everything that's going on in those years?
What you describe is what I've experienced. And it's unfortunate because, especially as an administrator, I have so many, and I call all of my students babies, but I have so many babies that come to me and they're like, you know, Dr. Bradford, my parents are going out of town. They'll be gone this week. And they think, oh, you're in high school. You got it. But these babies are going through depression. These babies long to hear someone check in. How was your day? Like we do it when they're 5, 6, 7, 8, but then when they're older, we kind of lose that touch. And now we have all of these devices, and the devices, unfortunately, have replaced some of our parenting because you can find out how to do everything by just Googling it or just searching on the internet and the social media. But the babies and our kids, they need us. They need us to get their cell phones. And this is very touchy. I know a lot of parents will say, oh my gosh, that's an invasion of their privacy. But if you knew what's on some of our students' devices, you would change your approach to dealing with it. And with myself, I raised three amazing adults. Did they always like me? No. Am I here to be their friend? Not when they're growing up. But as adults now, we have a great relationship. As children, not so much, because I was the parent that's checking that cell phone. You turn in your phone at the end of the day, and I go through it and I make sure, because there are things you may not share with me that I need to know. And our family was an open book. We talked about everything. And I need to protect them because there are a lot of predators and individuals out there in the world. So it's important. And I would let them know, when you turn it in, what I'm looking for. And we would have those conversations. But it's important to be there, to be that parent that's willing to have the tough conversations, that's willing to take action and do things that a lot of people may cringe. I don't think you should be able to go in their room. This is your home. You pay the mortgage. They live in your home. You must stand up and be the parent. And there is power in parenting if we do it right. And I'm not saying that you are not teaching them that they have privacy and things of that nature. They do. But as a parent, this is your training ground. And you must be present and you must be there to support our kids because they need you more than ever.
They certainly do. There's a lot of confusing information, a lot of false information running
Yes.
around. I mean, just
Yes.
things I can think of that were very unfortunate. In terms of, helping our children, and especially when it comes to their cell phone use. I mean, I know that we have this aversion kind of to social media as well for children, because there's just so much on there that's not great. I mean, you can see the blue whale game or whatever it was called, or the Momo challenge or whatever it was called, right? So do you believe that, like all the big greats, I think it was Elon Musk and Bill Gates, they said that they didn't even allow their kids to have these devices that they work with. So do you think that it's helpful to not have them access anything at all, or do you think that we need to, guide them?
I think definitely more guidance. And I will say, of course, no one's perfect. And I think when we're dealing with our kids, we do want to allow them to have access, but teach them how to use it in the right way. And so we need to set up those healthy boundaries for them. You're going to have a time limit. You may be able to have a phone when you are in your eighth or ninth grade in school, but when you come home, you get an hour of social media time, and that's it. The rest of the time, we're going to sit down and have dinner like a normal family. And we're actually going to do this new thing called talk. And so I get to find out about your day. You get to find out about my day. And just like it worked for us, it helps with their social skills. It also helps them with writing. Unfortunately, I have a daughter. She's a first grade teacher. And we always joke. I've been on the elementary level all the way up to the college level. And my last tenure, when I was on the high school campus, there are some high school seniors. If I took my paper from the high school senior and I got one of my daughter's students from first grade, I promise you, in some cases, you would not be able to tell me which one was a senior. And that is because our penmanship has gone away because we're texting all the time. You can't even spell out a word correctly because you're not used to writing the words down. And you have Google to tell you everything. And so I joke around with my kids. They're older now, but I told them when I'm older, now I took care of my parents before they passed away, but I was like, do not take me to the hospital. And they're like, Mommy, no. Why? I don't want my nurse saying, let's Google how to do CPR. Let's Google how. No, I want you to know and to learn. And so we have this AI, we have all these things, and it scares me because are we really educating our kids? And I know we tease and we joke, but let's put some parameters around social media. Let's put some parameters around the computer usage and help them learn how to use it the right way so we can all go to the hospital when we're older and we'll feel confident that they know how to take care of us.
Hmm. No, that's a very good point too, and it kind of segues really nicely into a pretty big elephant in the room when you have artificial intelligence, and just because there are so many ramifications to it that we're not discussing too, especially when it comes to children and education. I mean, you don't even have to, like you said, you don't have to learn anything anymore. There's an app on the phone where you can scan your homework and Chat GPT or OpenAI, whichever service you want to use, tells you the answer and then you write it out. So people say that it's not a big deal, and I say, well, how many people can make change? When the lights go out and you're taking cash payments, how many people are able to make change? And then it's gotten to the point where somebody said, oh, well, we don't worry about that because nobody uses change anymore. And then up here locally, about a year ago, we had one of the major cell networks go out. Businesses essentially shut down for 3 days. There were businesses that shut down for 3 days because they didn't know how to take a paper payment or a manual credit card payment.
Yeah.
So,
And that's concerning, especially when you're in the school districts. And I'm just old school. I'm sorry, I born in a different time, and so I still love my paper and my pencil. I still love my file folders and things of that nature because what happens if it crashes? I need to still be able to move forward with my day. And so, unfortunately, when things may have happened as a teacher or even as an administrator, I was able to continue on because I can go right there, pull my file, and keep moving. But some of us are kind of like, and even our students will ask them, okay, you don't have your cell phone. What's your mom's number or what's your grandparents' number? It's on my phone. So are we really helping or hindering our next generation?
no, it's a very valid point, and I'm guilty of that. Like I know my own phone number, but yeah, I don't know some other phone numbers off by heart that I probably should. But yes, that's a very valid point. Do you see AI as being being coming from the education profession? I know that Elon Musk was one that was starting to do this new sort of pilot program where you go to school, but an AI program, looks at how you work and then tells you what you should learn. Do you think that this is going to be something that catches on in terms of education, or is it just passing fad?
I mean, with the way that technology is going, it may be a wave of the future. It may be some things that people tend to adapt. And so I think that's why we have so many other smaller schools or home schools or charter schools. And I know a lot of people are not advocates of those, but I think that's why they're popping up everywhere because people want to make sure that our children are receiving a quality education. And I do believe that the approach that we're taking with education, we need to take a look at it because the traditional sitting in a row and listening to the teacher, that's becoming quite difficult. And just memorizing and spitting out information. So, more projects and things of that nature, I believe, is more so what we're looking for in the future because the teacher has a lot of competition. And my heart goes out to teachers now, especially at the middle school and high school levels. It's so difficult to truly educate our kids because they have these cell phones and some places are saying you can't have the phones, which I know it's not popular, but I truly support that 110% because our teachers really can't teach because you're getting the text, they're still on social media, they're trying to listen to you, and you just imagine if you and I were having this conversation. And just because kids are in school, that doesn't mean they stop texting each other. That doesn't mean that they stop looking at social media. And so if you and I were having this conversation and I was in a presentation once, and I mean, like 30 or 40 text messages would probably have popped up by now. Would you be able to still stay engaged with me and understand what I'm saying? Or would you be like, squirrel, she's going to the restroom. Oh, they're about to have a fight. Or this is going to happen this weekend. Are you really locked in on your education? And I know parents want that extension to be able, I can call my child anytime I need them. I can reach them. It's great for the cell phone to be there. But are we truly making the best decision for the student, or is that a convenience for the parent?
Well, there's a few arguments there, right? The whole latchkey kids. It's there's so many facets to that argument, though. I mean, the world is different.
Yes,
I mean, it's true. The world is very different now. And being able to have that sort of, you know, control in today's world seems a little more realistic than it did, many years ago. And the sort of the second thing you said there is that, yeah, we do need to kind of fight for attention now because our entire society is geared towards, for lack of it's training us to have ADHD because, you have 30-second reels, 90-second reels, and then, you have to go to a classroom and you have to sit there for a full 45 minutes to an hour and focus on one thing. I mean, that is, it's unusual. Been like I've noticed this behavior even in my own daughter sometimes. She'll watch half of an episode and then she'll want to skip ahead because she's not interested in the content. It was a 30-minute episode. It's now down to like 20 because there's no more commercials on some services, right?
And
Even
that's
then,
it. Yeah.
it's right.
Even with our kids, it's not just our children, even with adults. You think about it. How much time or do we spend at work? I may work on this project, but then, oh, let me push back. Check that social media, see what's going on. And then are you really engaged? Are you giving that project 110%? Or you're getting all these text messages? Are you able? So if you aren't able to focus and do your job effectively because your phone is vibrating or you're getting these alerts, what do you think is happening to our children? And you're an adult. You've received your education, you have your degrees, but are they really receiving a quality education because we have so many distractions?
And there's a few different ways that you can think about doing that. I've heard solutions that go from applications that will, lock up those social media icons or things like that. So some of the tips were either get one of those phones that you can lock the application between the hours of like 9 to 5 or something, or even just moving the icon off the home screen on the phone. If you put it way at the back, so you have to flip through it twice to get to it. Um, things like that. And the most extreme one I heard of was there's actually an app out there. I don't know why anybody would do this, but I mean, desperate times call for desperate measures, I guess. It's an app where if you lock yourself out, it bricks your phone entirely. So, I mean, if you like, there's no way to get anything back without a factory reset of your phone. It's like, who would buy that?
Yes, yes. Well, I know that most schools are moving to the cubbies at the front of the room, which I think is great. That kind of helps with the parents and keep them at ease that they do have their phone, but the teachers are keeping control of it where there it's not a distraction. And maybe midway throughout our lesson, we'll take a brain break and you can get your device for 5 or 10 minutes, but then go put it back up so we can learn. And I think that's a lot better. Some parents do and do not like that because they want their child to always have their phone. But I think it helps with the teacher being able to deliver a quality education experience for our students.
No, for sure. And just being able to, get some attention back, what limited attention that might be.
Yeah.
Just swinging back to your work, and you've had lots of great successes, and I'm pretty sure you've got lots of big plans for the future. Where would you say that you see yourself in the next year?
I see myself everywhere. I'm going to go internationally. I'm going to be in every state doing trainings, workshops, and spreading the message about maintain the flame. I think this message is so important because even, when we were kids, we're trying to figure out where we fit in with everyone. But even as adults, there are some adults that still struggle. If it's coming into a new family, if you're getting married, new in-laws. My favorite movie is Meet the Fockers, and when you're not in that circle, so you have to know how to stand up and for yourself and what you believe in, and even in the workplace. So I see myself at conferences, internationally, writing more books, of course, and working a lot with parents and families to navigate the education system.
Well, it's a lot of good plans right there, and we look forward to seeing those. When are the new books coming out?
Well, I just wrote my last book, and it's My Soul is Not for Sale. And so I love this book. We're getting a lot of coverage for it. It's a great book. It talks about toxic workplace, toxic relationships, and just being able to stand in your truth and hold on to your integrity. And every chapter at the end gives you some takeaways that you can apply in your life so that you can be successful and have a great work environment where everyone feels comfortable, and it can help you with your strategies on removing the lies, the labels, and the limitations so you can have the life that you desire.
Excellent. And they're able to pick this up on Amazon and other places as
Yes,
well?
Amazon, Barnes and Noble, it's out everywhere, or you can go to my website.
Okay, excellent. Well, we are coming up pretty close to the time here. I just wanted to ask you, Dr. Bradford, and was there anything that maybe I should have asked that I didn't ask, or anything that maybe we didn't cover that you feel we should have covered today?
I think you did a great job, and I truly enjoyed this experience. My goal is just to always inspire someone to remember their passion and their purpose. If they're still here, that means you have a job to do and you can positively impact the lives of others, and you can have those dreams and goals that you desire. So even if you've put it on the back burner or you've put it on in a pause mode, just know that your dream, you can reignite that flame and you can have the life that you desire. So you deserve it. Keep moving forward. And if you need a support system or an advocate, feel free to reach out.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being here, Dr. Bradford. Just before we go, I know you mentioned your website. Is that the best way for our listeners to reach out to you in case they have questions or want
Sure.
to just
Well, I do have social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn are all just maintain the flame, all one word. Or my website is www.maintaintheflame.net.
excellent. Well, thank you so much. And to our listeners, don't worry about writing those out. We'll have those in the show description for you. And thank you once again, Dr. Bradford, for your time and being on the show. And to all our listeners, thank you for tuning in. And just remember, if you can't find that motivation or inspiration for yourself today, maybe go out and be that motivation or inspiration for someone else. And we'll see you again next time.